Louis XIV. Quite the controversial guy. Did a lot of crazy stuff. Absolute monarch, and had a whole lot of parties. But, to lead up to that, his grandfather, Henry of Navarre. Henry of Navarre was not that well liked by Catholics, so he decided to convert to Catholicism because if you can't beat him, join him. And he also helped the Huguenots by issuing the Edict of Nantes, which gave him Huguenots freedom. Unfortunately, that didn't please anybody, and he wound up dead. Can't win them all. Louis XIII ruled immediately after. He was a bad ruler, and he decided to go with Cardinal Richelieu. Now this Richelieu guy, he was pretty good, and much better than Louis XIII would have been. So he moved against Huguenots, and didn't let them build walls. So he didn't actually take away their freedom to worship, but he basically left them up for war. And he tried to weaken nobles, which isn't the best idea, but worked for him. So he made France very, very powerful. Now into this came Louis XIV. Basically said, "L'État c'est moi, I am the state." When you say that, you got a lot of ego. So when his father died, the successor, Mazarin, basically took over. His greatest success was ending the 30 Years' War. Now after ending the 30 Years' War, he was not liked by nobles, considered because he raised taxes and he also strengthened the government. Not good for nobles, because nobles, they don't like those things. So they moved against him, and little Louis was forced to run away and away. But Louis didn't like that, and he always hated the nobles and wanted to become more powerful than them. Well, Mazarin died later, and Louis grew up and became ruler. He weakened the nobles due to the Mazarin thing, and also he made things called intendants, who collected taxes and basically dealt with justice. Now, Louis XIV used the Minister of Finance, Jean-Baptiste Colbert. This Colbert guy, no relation to Steve Colbert, I'm imagining, he wanted to make France self-sufficient, and basically succeeded. So, Louis decided to cancel the Edict of Nantes, which was bad. Lots of Huguenots fled the country, but it's Louis we're talking about. He does whatever he wants. Heck, he had nobles surround him all day because he could keep an eye on him and basically subject him to humiliation. Heck, his ego was big enough he danced the lead role in the ballet The Sun King, which was also one of his nicknames, because when you're a king that egotistical, you can have as many nicknames as you want. Now, France was the most powerful country in Europe, and it had about 20 million people. A lot of people. So Louis decided to invade Spain because, good, and he did. Now Louis, well, he wasn't all that well liked by the Europe because he was too powerful, and also his luck started to run out in Spain, so he stopped that idea. But then the King of Spain died and promised Louis's grandson the throne. Well, he snapped that up, and people were not happy, since that would mean Spain and France would link together, and a Spanish-French world order or something like that, because you never know what those Frenchies and Spaniards are going to do. So, they fought the War of the Spanish Succession. A lot of fighting went on, but eventually ended up with Louis's grandson remaining on the throne as long as France and Spain never joined up. And they didn't, pretty much. Britain got a lot. They got Gibraltar, they got Nova Scotia and Newfoundland, Canada, and, like, all that was pretty well off for the British, but let's get back to France. Louis, his last couple years, was not happy, since he realized he caused a whole lot of misery and pain, and he died. People were pretty happy that he died. Poor guy. But anyways, his death left a very mixed legacy. He ranked above all in arts and literature and all that, and he was a military leader, but his strong power, his use of power at least, and taxes and debt, that was bad. Louis overall was just one of those kings that people liked when he was alive, but when he was dead, didn't really say much about him.